I don't usually like to buy large lots of untested retro hardware, but every once in a while you come across one that deserves a closer look. A little over a year ago I found this lot of 67 different items, mostly video cards, sound cards, and I/O cards, as well as a few other miscellaneous bits thrown in. Everything here is at least 20 years old, but there are some even older bits from the 80s and early 90s too. Cost was $189 US, which was not cheap, but everything did look to be in decent condition, and brackets and heatsinks weren't all ripped off like you sometimes see with scrap lots. Looking more closely, I was able to spot a couple of real gems in there that just sealed the deal for me, and I decided to go for it. When I bought this last year, it was right in the middle of a very stressful time, and I am embarrassed to say that this great big box of retro goodness remained unopened. It was put onto a shelf for a rainy day, and hey, well, that day is today. I mean, it's actually snowing outside, but yeah, you get the idea. So I'm not usually one for unboxing or mail call videos like this, so I did ask my Patreon supporters what they thought, and the answer was a very overwhelming yes, do it. They really wanted to explore what was in this box, and so do I. So hopefully you'll enjoy this slower paced, unscripted, and different sort of video today. Going to break it into 3 sections: video cards, sound cards, and everything else. And won't spend too much time talking about each item since there's a lot to get through. But anyway, let's dive in and see what we've got here. Alright, so first one here is an MSI 8817. It's an AGP card with a universal AGP connector here. It's got a nice little heatsink on it. It's got WinBond 6 nanosecond SD RAM on it. And if I had to guess, I would say this is a GeForce 2 MX, so nothing super exciting, but I'm not 100% sure. I will put it at the bottom of the screen once I've had a chance to look it up, see what it really is. But yeah, depending on what it is, may hang on to it, but I'm going to put it in the undecided pile until I can figure it out. Okay, next one on the list here is ATI. I believe this is a Rage 128. I think it might be the Rage 128 GL if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, not a lot of love for the ATI cards from this generation, unfortunately. To be honest, I just really don't have a lot of experience with them, but what I do recall is that the Rage 128 was a big step up from the previous Rage Pro models. I think it actually looked pretty good on paper. Not sure how it actually performed in real world sort of scenarios, but I actually have one of these already, so this one's going to be going in the giveaway pile. Alright, so next is a sort of 2-for-1 deal here. I got 2 almost identical cards. They're actually from different vendors, even though the PCB layout is the same as far as I can tell. So these are NVIDIA Riva TNT2 M64s. So this is sort of the trimmed down version of the TNT2. It's got 64-bit memory bus instead of the 128-bit of the regular TNT2. Well, this one's really not in good shape. You can see there's actually a lot of corrosion down here. Not sure how well that shows up. But yeah, this one's probably going to go in the giveaway pile for sure, just because of its condition. This one I'm actually going to hang on to because it does have a heatsink on it, and it's in much better condition aside from some bent feature connector pins here. I don't think I actually have an M64. One thing I did find kind of interesting is you can see that they have sort of a shared PCB that they use for different models, so you can see that there's 3 different possible memory configurations there, which is kind of interesting. Would like to look into it, see if there's any way to mod this. I'm not sure if you can turn this into a 128 bus card just by adding some memory. I'll have to look into that, but could be interesting. But yeah, this one I'm going to keep, the other one I'm going to get rid of. Alright, and now I've actually got a 3-for-1 deal here. So these are S3 Trio 64s, so these are kind of the king of compatibility, as they say. They're really good cards for DOS gaming and work for just about everything. These 3 models are pretty much identical. They're all made by STB Systems. There is a little bit of a layout difference here, but for all intents and purposes, it's the same card. This one's only got, I guess, 2 megabytes in it, and these 2 over here are maxed out with 4 megs in each. So I'm probably not going to keep all 3, but I will keep at least 1 or 2 of these. They're really good cards for, you know, Pentium era DOS rigs. So all right, and some more multiples here. So we've got some ATI Rage Pro Turbos. So these were pretty common cards, I guess, around 1998 or so. Again, I don't know too much about these, but but I do recall them having a lot of problems as far as drivers and performance issues, especially when it came to 3D. I would like to explore a little bit more into the, especially the 3D side of some of ATI's products, so may keep one of these. This one seems to be in the best condition. It's an earlier revision. This one here is actually the same PCB layout, but you can see that they sort of cheaped out. They ditched some of the tantalums at the bottom, put electrolytics instead. And this one actually has a busted cap. It looks like there was probably an electrolytic there where there should have been a tantalum, and it's gone. So this one I'm probably not going to keep. And there's also one other revision here. This one's an OEM part for Compaq, as you can see. But this one actually has the memory expansion, which is kind of neat. Unfortunately, there is a tantalum cap. You can see it's sort of just hanging on by a thread here, so it's not in very good condition, unfortunately. Not sure if it's really worth fixing this one or not, and we'll have to see maybe if I have a spare. But yeah, nice to have these because these are kind of hard to find. So, but yeah, I think I will keep this one. I may actually already have one of these. I'm not 100% sure. If I do have one, I'm gonna just give all three away, but if not, I will keep this cleanest one here. All right, so next one up here is one of the newest cards in the box. This is a PCI Express card, but the bridge means that this was natively an AGP chip. So at first I thought it was a 6600 GT, but it actually works the other way around. It's native PCI Express and gets converted to AGP. So I really wasn't sure what this is until I looked at the label here. And to my surprise, this was a GeForce PCX 5750. So the PCX series is basically a PCI Express FX series card. So this is essentially the FX 5700 with a bridge chip that converts it to PCI Express. So these were created kind of late in the FX series life. So I think it was probably early 2004, something like that, just before the 6000 series came out. So a bit rare. I don't have one of these, so I think this one is definitely a keeper. One thing I did notice, it says fan with a yellow sticker here. Some of the cards had green stickers, so I'm assuming yellow is bad. And yeah, if I wiggle the card, you can see the fan doesn't move at all. So I think that it's probably seized up. Definitely worth fixing. I'm going to hang on to this one. All right, next up, I would say that this card is a bit of a gem. So this is a Diamond Multimedia Stealth 64 video. The Diamond brand S3 cards are typically higher end than some of the other manufacturers out there, so I really like these. They are typically just built better and they use higher quality components. So this one here is the S3 Vision 968 chipset, which is one of their higher end ones at the time. It also uses a high quality IBM DAC. This DAC actually looks really cool. It's got an exposed die at the center and a blue surround, so really like the way that one looks. But also the output quality is very good too. This one uses VRAM instead of DRAM, so a little bit of a performance advantage there. And in the box, I was also really happy to find this. So this is the 2 megabyte memory module that brings it from 2 to 4 megs total. And the only unfortunate thing is, not sure if you can see that, but the pins are very thin and fragile, and they are bent terribly out of shape. So hopefully if I take my time with this, I might be able to straighten those out and add them there. But I think it goes without saying that this card here is a keeper. Okay, next up is another S3 card. So this is a Verge DX, very common card from back in the day. This one appears to be made by Fastware. Not a whole lot to say about this one. Looks like it has 2 megabytes installed. Each one of these EDO chips is 512 kilobytes, and we've got 4 sockets here. I have a few Verges already, probably ones that are a little better quality than this, but I generally like to hang on to these because just like the Trio 64s, these are really great for compatibility, and hey, never know, might come in handy, so I can put this one in the undecided pile for now. Alright, next up is a somewhat newer card. This one's a Radeon. Not sure exactly what it is. I don't see a label on it with the model number, but just based on its appearance, I would say this is probably a 9200, something like that, so a bit newer. It's got a universal AGP slot here. I do have a card similar to this one. Don't really think I need one like this, so this one's going to go to the giveaway pile. All right, and another Diamond brand S3 card. So this one is a Verge DX, I believe. Actually, it just says Verge. I'm not sure if the Verge and Verge DX is the same. I'll have to take a look. But yeah, again, the Diamond cards typically built better than some of the other brands out there. This one is the Stealth 3D 2000, and you can see it does have the memory upgrade to take it to the full 4 megs there. These, I'm not sure what this connector here at the bottom is. Probably either some kind of expansion or accessory. I don't think it's a memory expansion connector because you've already got the sockets here. Oh, this one's labeled MPEG connector. This is probably the feature connector. No idea what this one is, but yeah, you can see the pins are totally mangled there. I'll probably try and get those cleaned up, or if not, I'll just desolder the connector completely, but this is definitely going to be a keeper. Alright, so here's an interesting one that was in the box here. This is made by Appian Graphics, called the Duet AGP from 1998. Uses an S386C280 chipset. I'm actually not sure what that is. I'm going to look that up. But obviously the Duet is in reference to the pair of VGA connectors, and it looks like there's a, that doesn't look like S-Video, some kind of a multimedia dongle connection there too. It looks like it's got 4 megs of SG RAM. Probably some kind of a workstation or custom purpose card for some kind of equipment. Those coils, I'm not sure what that is. It looks like pieces of metal folded over with some sort of a weird trace pattern there. If you happen to know what these are, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, this one looks like it's sort of special purpose. Unless this chipset is really remarkable for some reason, I don't even know what it is. I'm probably going to put this one in the giveaway pile. Okay, another ATI card. So this one has a yellow sticker on it, so I'm not sure if that means it's bad or not. Oh, okay. Rage 128 Ultra. Now, although that sounds really great, I think it's just the Rage Pro in sort of OEM form. I'm not 100% sure. Haven't actually seen one of these before. Yeah, the sticker here says R128P on it. Not sure how this compares to some of the other ATI models, but I think this is one of the higher end ones if I'm not mistaken. Probably going to put this in the undecided pile, especially since I don't know if it works or not, but I will get it tested and find out exactly what it is. Alright, so next one up is an AGP card made by STB Systems from 1998. This one kind of fooled me in the photos. I thought maybe it was a Voodoo 3 because the layout is very similar to a Voodoo 3 2000, but this is a Riva TNT. Looks really clean. I can see a sticker here says it's from Dell on the BIOS chip there, so I don't think I actually have a TNT, like a regular TNT card, so I'm probably going to keep this one actually. Okay, next up is another ATI card. So this one is the Rage 2C, but this is the PCI variant, not the AGP. It looks like it's in pretty good condition, but I actually have a higher end version of the Rage 2C already with some multimedia out connections, so I think this one's going to go to the giveaway pile. And the next one is the true gem that I saw in the photos that sort of sealed the deal for this whole thing for me. This is a Voodoo 3 2000 PCI, so the PCI variants are a little bit more rare to begin with. This one definitely has a bit of a dollar value associated with it, but I actually don't have a card like this, so I was really happy to see this in the bundle. And I'm also happy to report that it looks like it's in great condition. It's very clean. I don't see any broken components on it. And yeah, I'm going to be really happy to have this one in the collection. Hopefully it works, but hey, if it doesn't, it'll make for another repair video. One thing you'll notice is that it's actually missing 4 SG RAM chips here. Some of these have higher density chips, so it's still 16 megabytes, but using 4 instead of 8 chips. This card as well has some thermal problems that are well known. It actually, because it's PCI, and basically everything in the Voodoo 3 layout sort of expects 3.3 volts, there is a large regulator with a pretty undersized heatsink over here that converts 5 volts to 3.3, and then again you have another regulator down here that provides the core voltage, so not a very efficient way to do it. This one actually outputs a lot of heat, as well as the core obviously does too. One thing that I saw that was not too unusual is the really bad thermal glue or epoxy job they did on this heatsink here. You can see that it is pretty lopsided, so there was more pressure applied on the right side than the left, so it's kind of lifted there. And I'm not sure how well that shows up, but there's a sort of a blob of epoxy there. I mean, these things are only about, I think, 6 or 7 watts, so it's not a huge deal. At least it does have a heatsink. If you saw my previous video, you can see just how hot these things actually get without one. But yeah, just adding a little 40mm fan would probably help this card a lot. Yeah, I think it goes without saying, this one is a keeper. Alright, so we're almost through the graphics cards now. Now I'm going to take a look at some older ones. So here is a Cirrus Logic CLGD 5401. So this is a pretty basic model as far as I know. I actually have one of these already that is non-functional, so I'm kind of happy to have one. I'm hoping this one will work. It may actually come in handy for troubleshooting that other one. I'm also interested in maybe getting the BIOS image off of it in case that's what's actually wrong with the broken one that I have. But yeah, very basic card, but I will never turn down an ISA graphics card. They are getting harder to find these days, and always useful to have, so this is a keeper. Alright, so this next one here I would consider a bit of a gem. So this is a Western Digital Paradise from 1988, and what makes it special is that it's an 8-bit VGA card, so very useful to connect something like an 8088 or XT or something like that to a regular monitor that is more common, so that you don't need anything too special to get them working. I actually don't have a system to use this in, but you never know. Hopefully at some point I might get an old IBM or maybe an XT or a clone or something, and yeah, definitely gonna hang on to this one because you really never know when it might come in handy. Again, bit of a gem. These are getting harder to find, and they are quite expensive if you want to buy one on eBay, so excellent find and a keeper. And last but not least, at first I thought this may have been a serial controller card, but no, this is actually an MGA monochrome or Hercules compatible card. So I believe this is sort of one of those cheap clone cards that were found in some less expensive systems from that era. But yeah, 8-bit ISA, and something that I don't have in my collection. And yeah, you just never know when you might need or want something like this, so I'm gonna call this one a keeper. Okay, that's it for video cards. Let's move on to sound cards. So first one I grabbed from the box here is an SB0410. This is the Sound Blaster Live 24-bit. I have a few Sound Blaster Live cards, but I don't have any 24-bit models like this one. It's a little bit lower profile, and I'm not sure if this is sort of a cheaper model or something a bit newer than the first generation Live cards, but I will look more into it. I don't really know too much about this one. Interestingly, the protective caps on the output ports are missing except for the green one. And these are actually on there really well, so I don't know how those got ripped off like that. But anyway, this one's going to go in the undecided pile until I can learn a bit more about it and figure out what it is exactly. Alright, next one is a Diamond Multimedia PCI sound card. Looks like a pretty basic PCB layout here, but I think this is a, yeah, it's a surround sound card. You got your front, out, rear, center, and looks like it's based on a C Media chipset, so CM8738. It's got a nice black PCB on here. Diamond usually makes pretty good sound cards. Don't know too much about this chipset, but I don't have one like this, so we're going to keep this one. And the next one I grabbed is actually based on the exact same C Media chipset. Looks like this one doesn't have any branding or stickers on it, so it's probably more of a no-name cheaper one. Has a nice matte finish black PCB on it. Not sure how well that shows up there. Yeah, I always kind of laugh at these low-cost cards with the cutout PCB, so they could kind of, you know, mirror this and make 2 cards out of what you'd normally be able to only make 1. Anything to save a few cents, right? But yeah, if the Diamond Multimedia version of this, which definitely looks higher quality, works, then this one's going to be going in the bin. Okay, so next one here is an ISA sound card. So this is a Media Magic card. I don't know exactly what model it is. Media Magic. That's probably a date code, 9412 maybe. But that would sort of fit the date. You've got a whole bunch of different types of CD-ROM interfaces here. I'm not sure what's under the Media Magic sticker, but if I had to guess, I would say it's probably an Opti card. They quite often match them up with the crystal codec chips like this. This one does have a wavetable, and it has genuine Yamaha OPL3, which is awesome. I don't think I have this exact card. I might have a similar Opti-based card. But yeah, I quite like this one. It ticks a lot of the right boxes for DOS gaming and compatibility. So, and yeah, it also has speaker out and line out, which is great. So, nice card. We're going to keep this one. Next one here is a very common card. So this is the Ensoniq Audio PCI. Creative Labs actually bought Ensoniq around the time this was released. They were interested in getting their PCI audio technology here. But not a very good card when it comes to DOS gaming because there's no FM synthesis at all. It does some pretty horrible sounding emulation actually. I did try it out a few years ago, but I would like to do a video on this card at some point because it is a very common chip. There is a Creative Labs version of this as well, but this chip is also found on quite a few OEM motherboards for onboard sound too. But I'm pretty sure I have an Ensoniq branded one like this already. So this one's going to be going in the bin. And funny enough, the next one I grabbed in the box was that exact Creative Labs card I was talking about. So this is the Creative Labs version of the Audio PCI. Pretty much the exact same card. This one actually has some damage to it. You can see that that corner capacitor is literally ripped right apart. So that's not good. Pretty sure I have one of these already. I don't think this card is really worth repairing, but yeah, I've said that before and I repair them anyway, so we'll see if I have any caps that would work there. Looks like this one here is also damaged. The only difference really I saw between the two cards is this one has an onboard amplifier, so it's probably got, I don't know, oh yeah, there is a jumper there, so I guess you can switch between amplified and line out. Anyway, I'm pretty sure I already have this one as well, so this one's going to be going into the giveaway pile. And we've got another PCI sound card here. So this is the Sound Blaster Live 5.1. Very, very common card from around that time frame. This one actually looks to be in not very good shape. There's some corrosion on the pins and yeah. Oh, I didn't even see that. Look at that rust. Yeah, so this is not the value version, which is the more common one. This is the higher end one, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, given its condition and the fact that I've already got a few of these, this one's going into the giveaway pile. All right, another ISA sound card here. So this is the, looks like it's the OP931 3DIS. No idea what company makes this, but it's based on the Opti 82C931, which was a very common chip from Opti. Opti actually doesn't get a lot of love, but they're actually pretty good sound chips. The don't have any, you know, MIDI bugs. They have pretty good compatibility. The software is easy to use. I would like to do a video exploring them a little bit more. But this particular card here, usually you'll find the Opti chips paired up with genuine OPL3. That's not the case on this one. It does have a wavetable connector, so I'm assuming there must be some sort of built-in FM synthesis in there. Not quite sure how that sounds, but yeah, it looks like we've got an IDE connector here. Is this line out? So it's got audio out, but yeah, there is a jumper bank for switching between line out and speaker out, so that's great. Not sure. I'm pretty sure I have a card very similar to this one. I'm gonna check, but this one's probably gonna go in the undecided pile for now. All right, another PCI audio card, but this is definitely one of the better ones. So this is an Oriole Vortex 2. Really good PCI card. And if you do need to use a PCI card and want some, you know, older game compatibility, this is probably the one that you'd want to get. This one is actually a Turtle Beach branded card, which is a higher end company when it comes to audio. And one nice thing about this one is it actually has a wavetable connector, which is pretty rare to find on any PCI audio card. So yeah, this one is definitely a keeper. I definitely have one of the original Oriole Vortexes. I'm not sure if I have the Vortex 2. So yeah, definitely going to keep this one. There is a little bit of damage here. This cap looks like the legs got ripped out of the body there. So Should be an easy fix. Hopefully I've got a cap I can replace that one with. And nice card. Gonna keep this one. And last but certainly not least is this Ensoniq Opus wavetable card. So anytime you tell me there's a wavetable card, I am always interested in hearing it because it's really cool to see all of the differences in what General MIDI can sound like in your favorite games. So this card here, I'm not sure if I'd really call this one rare. I have seen these around, but I don't have one in my collection, so really happy that I found this here. There's a little bit of damage. Looks like this input connector has bent over and snapped a bit, so hopefully I can get that straightened out. It's not a big deal. Looks like there's an MX ROM chip over here and some NEC memory, and all of those traces seem to lead into this Ensoniq chip here, so I'm assuming this is the one responsible for the wavetable duties. There's also another one here. Oh, look at that cow chip. Boo. I'm assuming this is like for digital audio, and the analog devices chip I believe is a codec, so yeah, don't quote me on any of that, I'm not 100% sure. But one thing I do know is that Ensoniq cards from around this time, they used a lot of these SMD caps, and apparently they go bad. So I don't see any leaking or corrosion or anything, but may actually need a recap. But aside from that, it looks like it's in pretty good shape. So yeah, I think it goes without saying that this one is a keeper, and looking forward to giving it a try and seeing what it sounds like. Alright, that's it for sound cards, so let's move on to the everything else pile. First item I grabbed here is an ISA modem. So this is, oh, Creative Labs. Is this actually a modem blaster? Yeah, it is a modem blaster. That's pretty cool. I've heard of these, never actually seen one in person. I believe this is kind of like a voice modem of some sort. I know that there is a way that these actually interface with, I wonder if that's what these pins are here, interface with certain sound cards. It was kind of like an add-on for some of the Sound Blaster models. So yeah, I mean, I'm not too big on modems these days. They do have sort of limited usefulness, unless you have an analog line. But yeah, probably going to keep this one. Pretty cool card to have in the collection. Alright, next card in the box here is an 8-bit ISA card. So this connector at the edge here looks like a floppy connector. This is the type of connector you'd see on a 5¼ inch floppy drive, so I'm assuming that's what this is here. It's an 8-bit card, so probably from a very old system. I don't have anything like this in my collection, so it could be useful someday, and I'll call this a keeper. Alright, next up is kind of an interesting one. So this is an ATI TV tuner. This was the type of tuner that you'd find in media PCs that people were building back in the sort of early to mid 2000s. Unfortunately, I have no use for a card like this, but probably would have been really interesting back in those days. But yeah, this one's going to be going in the bin. Alright, next I've got a couple of these adapter / dongle things here. I'm not sure exactly what these are. I'm assuming that is a, what is that, 25 pin to some kind of, looks almost like a parallel connector that you'd use for a printer. Not sure what this is. If anybody happens to know, please leave a comment down below, but for now I would say that not something I'm interested in keeping. And next up I've got 3 of these SCSI adapters basically. So these convert your hot swap SCA type adapters to 50 or sorry, this is the SCA connector here. That will convert to 68 pin or 50 pin. I believe that's 50 pin. There's also some pin sockets here, not sure what those are for. There's a jumper block here for selecting your SCSI ID, Molex power. Yeah, kind of neat. I don't really have a whole lot of SCSI gear, but I probably will keep one of these. They are definitely useful just in case you ever come across a drive like that. Next up is a PCI USB. Oh no, sorry, that's Firewire. It's a Firewire card. That's actually kind of interesting. Looks like a Texas Instruments chipset. So there's 1 internal port and 3 external. I don't really have any Firewire gear at all, but I'm probably going to keep this actually, just in case I ever come across something Firewire that I want to take a look at. And we've got a very generic Realtek PCI network adapter card. There's a bit of rust on there. Is that actually a boot ROM? Not sure. Don't think so. But Yeah, I've got a few PCI NICs already, not really any use for this one, so it's going to be given away. Alright, next up is another modem. So this is a PCI modem, so probably just one of those Win modem type things. Oh, it actually has a joystick connector on it, which is kind of funny. Not sure. Yeah, it's got an audio connector, so it's probably one of the voice or multimedia modems, but being PCI, definitely not something I'm interested in. And next up, I have no idea what these two cards are, but there are two identical cards in here. They are Ziva PC C-Cube cards, and looks like they have composite and video connectors. Oh, there's a DVD logo on them, so they are probably DVD decoders. I will put at the bottom of the screen what they actually are once I've had a chance to look them up. But yeah, back in the day, you know, PCs didn't have enough CPU horsepower to do the DVD decoding, so these cards were quite often added to make that possible. So yeah, I don't think I really have any use for these. They're kind of neat, but probably going to pass these on to someone else. Next up is a very generic PCI USB card. So to be honest, I don't think I actually have a PCI USB card. So if I ever come across a system that doesn't have USB, I'd be curious to see if I can make it work. Not sure what this ALI chipset supports as far as operating systems are concerned, but I'll put this in the undecided pile for now and I'll look into it. Alright, next up is another modem. This is an ISA card. Looks like it's a Rockwell chipset. Don't really think I need this card, so I'm going to pass this one on as well. Next one here is another Rockwell modem. Don't really have any use for another modem. This one is a 16-bit ISA card. Looks like it's dated 1996, so it's a newer modem. I'm wondering if this might be a 56K model or something like that, but probably going to pass on this. I've got a few modems already and don't really need any more. Next up is an eSATA card. So this is a Promise Technology. It does have a boot ROM on it. This would be for an external JBOD enclosure or something, low profile. Not something I'm interested in, so we're gonna give this one away. All right, next up I've got 5 of these cards. These are all Promise Fast Track controller cards. These are actually pretty useful because they can allow larger unsupported drives to work with older systems, and they have boot ROMs as well, so they boot kind of like a SCSI card on most systems. And yeah, they also support faster transfer speeds, which is kind of why these were distributed with a lot of hard drives. You can see this one over here is actually Maxter. So yeah, I do recall actually, oh, this one's got a busted capacitor on it, but yeah, I do recall buying a Maxter hard drive a long time ago that came with one of these cards. So I think there's also some mods you can do as far as the firmware on these. There is a way to get RAID working. I've never tried, but yeah, I think I have 1 or 2 of these cards already, so I may keep just one of them, but the rest are going to be passed on to others who can use them. So it looks like we've got another FireWire card here. This one's based on a VIA chipset. Looks a little banged up. I'll take a look at between this one and the other one and see which one's better for compatibility. I don't need 2 FireWire cards, but yeah, so this one will probably go in the bin. Next up is a SCSI cards. This looks like a Adaptec 2930 CU, so probably a lower end Adaptec card. I do have some SCSI cards already. This one's got a single 50-pin connector. Not something that I really need. It does have external and internal connectivity, so yeah, probably this one's going to go in the giveaways. This next one I'm really not sure what it is. Looks like it could be a parallel controller card perhaps. Chips made by NCR, but yeah, probably not something I need. Here's a bit of a higher end SCSI card. So this is an Adaptec 2940 UW for ultra wide, I assume. It's got a 50-pin connector and a 68-pin connector and an external. Looks like some of the pins are a little bent over here. I have a few SCSI cards already, not something I'm too interested in, but yeah, this one's going to go in the giveaways. Next up is another modem, I believe. So this is definitely a Win modem. It's a PCI interface there. Yeah, not something I need. Next up is another SCSI card. This one doesn't have a bracket, but it has an external port and an internal 50-pin. It's called the Grappler by I guess the chip is Advanced Sys. Orange Micro. Yeah, no idea about this one, but not something I need, so it's going to go in the giveaways. And I said I had 5 of these promised fast tracks, but found another one. So here's another Ultra 66. Again, I've got lots of these, so giveaway. And here's another Adaptec SCSI card. So this is a 2940 AU with an external connector and an internal 50 pin. Yeah, not something I need, so this one's gonna go in the giveaways as well. Here's another internal USB card. Looks like this one's USB 2.0 with an NEC chipset. It looks like it's a little banged up. Probably just gonna give this one away. And we've got another USB card. This one looks in a little bit better condition. Not sure if 2.0 is USB 2.0, but yeah, I definitely don't need more of these, so we'll put this one in the bin. All right, next up is an older 8-bit card here. Looks like this is Western Digital 1002A. So looks like the date is 85 or 86, so pretty old one. I'm assuming this is probably an MFM controller card, not 100% sure, but yeah, it could definitely be useful to have. I'm gonna keep this one. Next up is another modem. So this is a US Robotics Win modem, PCI interface. Yeah, not something I'm interested in. Next up is another NCR connector card. Oh, this one actually tells you what it is, HP ScanJet. So this is just a scanner interface card. Not sure what protocol they actually use or what type of port, but yeah, not something I need. Okay, next one here is a bit of an interesting card. No idea what this is actually. Looks like it has 2 those RJ45 ports. Yeah. Is this a network card? Yeah, it is, 100 meg. So this is a dual port 100 meg NIC. It has a digital chipset. Kind of interesting, but yeah, not something that is probably terribly compatible. I'm not sure about drivers and things like that. So yeah, let me know if anyone disagrees, but I think this one is just going to be a giveaway. All right, looks like we've got another SCSI card here. This is a 16-bit ISA card, but yeah, it looks like one of these resistor networks is broken here. There's a 50-pin header here, but it's not soldered on. All we have is an external SCSI port. Not something that I'm interested in. And we've got another Adaptec SCSI card. This one is another 2930 CU. Again, not something I need. And last but not least, we've got another 8-bit controller card. So this one is the WD1002. Again, I'm assuming it's an MFM controller card, not 100% sure. But yeah, could come in handy for an old system one of these days, and definitely gonna hang on to this one. And there we go, the box is finally empty. Out of 67 different items, in the end, I decided to keep 25, which is actually a lot more than I expected, to be honest. Now, obviously, I don't know how much of this stuff actually works, but I'd say most of these items here are worth repairing if they don't. And from a money perspective, was it worth $189 US? Let me know what you think in the comments below, but to me, yeah, I think so. There were some nice cards in that lot, and it'll definitely be worth it if that Voodoo 3 card works. But that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed this different sort of video. It'll be my last one of 2024, so just a few more days left till the new year. Wanted to wish everyone a very happy new year, and I'll see you back in January with part 2 of the Voodoo 3 1000 enhancement series.